All right. What's up, you guys? So I saw someone say Jesse's always respectful of his viewers' time, so if he's late, taking care of family. Well, this is A, half true. I am very respectful of my viewers' time. And B, I was kind of taking care of my family, but mostly I'm always going to be a few minutes late because I am a mid functioning dimwit, as stated a million times. I don't know how it happens. Like I have a totally amazing built-in excuse today, being that we are in the middle of like our moving guys just got here about 2 hours ago in our new house. There's like boxes everywhere. It's absolute chaos. But that's not why I was late. I'm late because I'm dumb, you know. But yeah, man. So we are going to go through the stream that Didi Got a Podcast did yesterday, whereby it was long, man. He did almost 3 hours talking about his reasons for why he thinks Charlie's alive. And I am happy to weigh in on this, given that I also maybe think that is the case, you know? And so I would say I on the front side, I would compliment him. He did an extensive amount of preparation for that stream. He hit a bunch of stuff that I had. There's like a few things that I had actually not even seen. A couple points he made where I was like, excellent point. But we are going to we're going to get to all of that, and I'm going to react to a bunch of it. The first thing I'm going to say though is the way that he formatted his stream was he started at UVU and the stuff that happened at UVU. And I'm not going to do that. I'm basically going to summarize it like this. Okay. If you have watched this stuff consistently, there is no way to deny that there is an amount of like bizarre, nearly inexplainable behavior from people who are in Charlie's inner circle, which is why I never, ever chastise people who are convinced that TPUSA must have conspired to whack out Charlie. When that theory initially came out, I was like, guys, like what on? It just sounded totally insane to me. And so it took me a long time to actually look at the stuff that people were talking about. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay. Clearly I was casting judgment without, like, I should always just at least look. Like, that's what I've learned, honestly, about this entire case. I have learned that no matter how crazy something sounds, I should always do the people who believe it the respect of looking at what they are trying to present, because across this entire case, very first thing I was like, TPUSA, impossible. It can't, like, that just sounds like crazy town. And also the first people who brought to me, oh, Charlie's alive. I was like, oh my God, dude. No, you're wrong. Okay. Wrong. And in both cases now I looked and I'm like, oh wow. Okay. Like, I'm glad that I ended up looking, because I was being dismissive of them and judging their opinions without having looked. And they had very valid reasons to believe the things that they did. But as it relates to the UVU stuff, okay, the way I look at this, and by the way, on the front side, I am making zero statements of fact in this entire stream. No one should make their opinion based on anything that I say, because I am just speculating. You know, if you happen to agree with my take on a thing, then that's awesome. But I have no facts. I have no factual information to share with anyone ever. Not today, not ever. So what I will say is this: from my perspective, you have two options. Either Charlie is in on this thing, conspiring with the group to build out a hoax, which I can certainly discuss at length why I believe that they did this, more so than I've even done before, because now, like, these two issues are converging now, because I've been talking about another thing a lot. Like, I've been talking a lot more about AI than I was before. And I have always, this has been two issues. I was just like, I don't want to complicate this whole thing and make it, sound even more crazy. But nonetheless, okay, so you either have this if you accept that all of this stuff happened around with TPUSA, oh, Mikey McCoy walks off. You got Terrell Farnsworth, like clearly he stomps on the ground right when the shot goes off. He runs over to the wall, gets the shot, turns it on himself. Charlie's dead. What are you talking about? How could anyone say that? He gets a perfect shot. There's no blood. All security guard dive over the table. None of them pull their guns. As far as I could tell, none of them pull their guns. They're supposedly plugging the wound. None of them have any blood on their hands. They carry Charlie. It's like they don't let the first aid people into administer any first aid. And they also, one of the things, like the big thing that I got from Didi's yesterday, why wouldn't they let them in the car? Why wouldn't they let them help in the car? Why wouldn't they let the health professionals that are there to help if there's a medical emergency? Why wouldn't they let them try to assist in the car? And I think what Didi did a good job of doing is going, I understand you guys think it's because they don't want them to see that this wound or any of this stuff, like things that are not going to match, that it was a bullet. They don't want them to see that it was like maybe a bomb or something or whatever. And if you believe that narrative, there is only one conclusion that you can have, which is that Charlie was completely oblivious to the people around him. Like, you only have two options here. If you believe that narrative, then you also believe that Charlie's entire inner circle could have been planning and conspiring around him for a very long time to pull off something like this, and he would have been completely oblivious to it. Okay, so you have Charlie is super dumb on one side, or Charlie is so distracted that he is just not even seeing all the signs that are around him, including his own wife, or Charlie is a fucking genius mastermind who would have potentially participated in, or more likely orchestrated, one of the most elaborate hoaxes ever in order to get control back, get the people focused in the right direction. They're getting distracted by the Palm Beach Pete files, right? They're getting distracted by the Gaza stuff. The party seems like it's about to split. This is a solution. You do this, we'll get them all focused on the radical left. And I'm going to go much, much more in depth about that, because I think one of the reasons why I see this so clearly and a lot of people don't is because I think that when people say, oh, it's all fake and gay, it's words they say, but they don't really understand how all of this stuff is orchestrated and the way the world actually works, and how you have groups of billionaires who are competing against other groups of billionaires. And at this point, how countries, you have country on country, China matters, whatever, but you also have internal of the United States and other countries. You have these super powerful billionaires. And so much of what you see, if not 90%, is orchestrated by these same groups to get the people to believe what they want them to believe. And in reality, what's actually at play is way different than what people believe. Charlie knows that. Anyone who is involved knows this. There's no way to just explain all of this stuff to the public. If they're going to play that way against you, you need to play that way back against them. Anyway, which is why I've never judged them for this, which is why I've always volunteered to never talk about this ever again. If I'm right and they want me to shut my stupid face, I will. And I've always made clear my motivation for doing this was because I could tell this had unraveled and backfired. And I was trying to get people to see what actually happened, so that at least the people who are on Charlie's side, it's like, stop attacking TPUSA, man. Like, this is not what it seems. It didn't work. It didn't work. But anyway, all right. So let's get to the podcast. That's a 10-minute nonsensical intro. And what I want to do here is I'm going to start right here, which is right around the end of the UVU section that he did. And now he's going to start talking about people's behavior. And I have a lot to add here. And by the way, great job, Didi.
How people feel about you, you present it as is. Let me give you some love. I've linked in the description to They Live Truth. I've linked.
By the way, before everybody starts talking about it, 100%, I saw the new images of Tyler Robinson and all that stuff from UVU. For sure, I'm going to talk about that, but not in this stream. I'm going to do a video about it later. You can expect fireworks on that video for sure.
Both videos in the description already. Let's take a look at what just 2 or 3 of the things that he discovered or he observed. And he's just giving his perspectives on it. And I just want to give you a heads up. Before I play this clip, keep in mind the clip that I played at the very beginning from Chronicles of Judah. Tell me if anything sounds similar.
There's a few things I want to point out with the occultic side of things that people have missed.
Oh shit, this is the
Just
wrong
take
one.
a look around. It's right in front of you, all in plain sight. It comes down to it. You see here where American comeback, and you see the as above, so below with the red and blue. Of course, red and blue equal purple for witchcraft and royalty.
Sorry, this is where I meant to start. Sorry.
Why would you? Nobody. He said, I had to leave them pine trees just to get it. Said when I got it, I was going to bring it back. And guess what? I did it. I left in the Civic, came back in the Lamb, feeling like Tupac in Atlanta, something like that. But what he said was, I left in a Civic, came back in a Lamb, a Lamborghini. I left in a Civic. When he said left in a Civic, he points upwards. This is how you point. I left in the.
Sorry, I tried to wing this on my own. Let me here we go. Let me start. I have the entire thing timestamped. I'm just going to go here. All right, we're going to start with Mikey McCoy. An audible.
Shout out to this content creator, Lindsay _LOO. Go show them some love. So let's get this pulled up. And it says Mikey McCoy caught red-handed viewing drone footage while pretending to film Charlie. Let's take a look. Make sure that you all can see it pretty good on your end, and you can. Let's take a look at this.
We're going to be here for a couple hours.
Charlie is here on the screen. As you can see at the very middle or bottom of you can see that's a tent up top. He's looking at drone footage. Reflection fades and outline of Charlie's tent can be seen. Now, why would Mikey McCoy allegedly, just to be respectful and careful here, everything I say in this video is alleged. This is all for entertainment purposes. None of this is real. Why would Mikey McCoy be looking at drone footage? Once again, you're going to say, because they set up Charlie. There's the tent. There's the tent. So clearly we know he's looking at drone footage. Okay. So now that that's been presented, let me tell you what my theory is. I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying this is fact. Not even just for protection purposes. I'm genuinely saying also, I don't know if this is true. This is
one of the things that I had not thought of, that I was like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's what I'm thinking. You all, as always, as I encourage you, hop in the comment section, let me know what you think. I believe what they were doing, and I'm about to show this from Frank Turek's phone as well. I believe they were filming Charlie from different perspectives so that whenever they release the footage of what we would eventually see as quote unquote Charlie being taken out, they would know what they needed to fix, if anything. That's what I believe happened.
And I totally agree with this. And I'm going to add some color to that. Sorry. So what actually happened there, you guys, right before, is, as usual, I had a disaster on my computer. I had to start over, and I was like, I'll just put it right here and start. Anyway, it's all fixed now. So, okay. So I totally agree with that. And here's another thing too, is when so I've told this story before, but I will tell it one more time because relevant. So within a couple days of what happened, okay, I have a friend in Utah. I've talked about this a million times. I lived in Utah for a year. I have good friends out there. I'm very familiar with the LDS community, and a good buddy of mine who I spoke to when I was asking him about what happened, he had what he said was an exclusive video from someone who was on site that was like within 10 yards of what happened. And he's like, dude, he's like, I might give it to you. And I was like, dude, I mean, give it to me, man. Like, if you, I mean, I will do, I mean, I'll follow whatever you guys say, whatever. He's like, it's an exclusive, yada, yada, yada. Right. So when I had seen Charlie get shot, I had seen the one from the side where blood had exploded out of his neck. That was the only one that I had seen. So he sends me the video. We validated that it was an original cell phone video, wasn't a screen recording, whatever. And it was the one from behind and on Charlie's right, where he gets hit and seizes up and then falls over. when I saw it, I had never seen it. I was like, holy shit. And I was like, I mean, I couldn't, it was like, and this was before they were just insta banning anything that was on, that showed the actual shooting, which is so weird. Like for weeks, you could show him getting shot on YouTube, no problem. And then all of a sudden they just like all at once, just demonetized it. Anyway. So when I got it, I realized I had this like crazy exclusive video that no one had seen as far as I knew. I was like, because I checked, it's the original video. So I reached out to Candace. I went through like a lot to get to her. You know, like I told my buddy, I was like, listen, tell her I have something that is like, she's going to want to see it. She ended up having already seen it. And what's hilarious about that story, without getting into the deal, is I saw a compilation 30 minutes before I was supposed to get on a call with her that had a compilation of every single video or whatever that had been seen so far. And I saw it on it. And I was like, what? So apparently the dude who had it and gave it to my buddy, he had given it to someone else and it had actually gotten released. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, please God, don't let Candace have seen this, because I'm gonna look like a fucking moron. Of course she had seen it. So I look like a moron. But what she said to me on that call is she's like, I'm looking for footage from the other side. And I was like, and I'm like, the other side, because this was from the back right. I hadn't made this connection until today. And she's like, yeah, the other side. And I was like, you mean like the really graphic one? She's like, yeah, I can't find any videos of that. And I thought that was so, I was confused by that, because I had seen that one from that side. And when I started going around, I mean, this is within 48 hours of when it happened, now that I'm thinking about it. So I'm going around trying to find it. I couldn't find any clips from that side anymore either. And what I was told by two separate people who are from Hollywood, who like, after I came out and I was like, I think this thing might be fake. I had two people reach out to me and they said the exact same thing to me, which was, when I watched that clip, or when I saw it happen, what it looked like to me was it looked like a bad squib. She's like, it looked like to me, because like sometimes these squibs go bad. Like they're not, they get exposed to air or whatever, and they come out all dark and it just looks wrong. And then you have to reshoot the scene. And she's like, so I said, I think that's a bad squib. She's like, it looked like a bad take to me. And again, I didn't think anything like, I'd already floated that it might be a squib, whatever. There's no way for me to verify anything anyway. But then I was just thinking about this with what Didi said. And I'm like, all of this connects. Like this all connects, where there are videos that come out and then suddenly they're disappearing. You got later on you have Terrell Farnsworth going up to Charlie. He's having him move things out of the way, like very, very within very close proximity to when the shot happens. He goes up and he's like, move those books or whatever. And then he literally goes up to Charlie moves something. And I've heard people say, it's because it was going to make it easier to potentially edit it in After Effects. The fact that that Turek is filming, the fact that Mikey McCoy's filming, the fact that the first thing that Terrell Farnsworth does is he goes and he takes a video on the wall himself. Then he goes back to the camera and he goes and grabs the SD cards. His sequence of events within the minute or two before Charlie gets shot is he's upset about all of this, of course, like my interpretation of what was going on. He appears to be upset at Hunter Kozak because Hunter Kozak is in line going like this, making like he's going like this at him. And, Farnsworth is watching him and then he's mad. He's looking over at him, talking to Mikey McCoy. Mikey McCoy seems to shush him. Okay. If you guys haven't seen that video, okay. So, and all of this is happening with it. Like, what's he could be shushing him because like, shut up, we're doing this. Or Farnsworth could be like, he's giving it away, dude. He's way too fucking obvious. He's making gun like things at him. This is going to be the guy who's supposed to come out and, be our whatever. Then when the shot happens, he stamps his foot at the exact moment that the thing happens. It appears to me that he stamps his foot exactly when that happens. If I am watching a video of myself and I don't think about it, I mouth the words. Gabrielle makes fun of me about it all the time. Like your body like does things involuntarily. So like hypothetically, if you have seen this happen a million times, but the point is all of them are filming. He's on the wall. You got these, like I've named 4 or 5 videos that are just on people's cell phones, right? So that makes perfect sense. Mikey McCoy, it's always like, where's he going? Like, why is he immediately walking off? And I thought maybe that it connected to when someone said that Mikey McCoy came to the hospital and picked Charlie up and then they drove up, but it was just some random guy from POV video. But what if what Mikey was doing was he was going to whatever like close editing bay they were going to have to make sure they got the clips out that were going to circulate the internet, and they had time to edit the stuff that they wanted to edit. You know what I mean? So now I'm going to go back to here, which was I do want to talk about the ambulance and stuff, and then we're going to get into like the casket and all of that stuff.
I'm going to just pause it there because I'm afraid they're going to show something inappropriate and then they're going to just flag this entire video. Brian Harpole is a liar. Now, many of you all already believe that he's a liar. Allegedly, everything I say in this live is alleged. Many of you all already believe that he's a liar. You say, well, yeah, because they set him up. Once again, by the end of this live, there's going to be a lot of people you're going to have to explain something about for me to understand that it was just a setup. Because again, I think something else is going on from that day. Here's a bigger question, and I can't take credit for it. I don't remember the person. It wasn't a YouTuber. It was somebody on Twitter that said something, and I was like, that's a great point, and I never considered this. It's one thing to refuse the medics, which we know they denied the medics. Why did you not allow them to ride in the SUV on the way to the hospital? I never thought about that.
Me neither.
Oh, we were rushing to get Charlie to the hospital. Got you. Heard you the first time. Why did you not have at least one medic in the vehicle with you? What many of you all are going to say that are of the crowd that he was set up, that me and Charlie, you're going to say, well, it's because they didn't want the medics to see what had actually happened to Charlie. Hence the shrapnels or the pieces of glass in the bottom of the SUV. Okay, you have good reason to believe that. Here's my theory. And
I might even say that you kind of only have like three options here. You have three options. One is they don't want people to see what kind of wound it is. Two is Charlie's going to be alive in the car and this whole thing's not real. Or three is a level of incompetence of it's so incompetent that you actually, I won't even entertain it. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, you know, of course, like anything's possible. Tyler Robinson could have done this, even if there's no images that are recognizable of him on camera on a college campus in 2025. Like, okay, it's possible, you know, it's possible Lance Twiggs did it. It's possible leftists did it. It's possible, you know, that there's this gigantic, you know, thing. It's like, but I have an extraordinarily nearly impossible way of believing, impossible task of believing that all of those guys chose to not administer first aid because they just didn't think of it. You know, like, oh, geez, there were those first aid guys. None of us saw them, which leaves two options, which we just talked about. You know what I mean? And so that's basically where he's going right there. So now we'll go to this one. Oops.
That's where you get the stereotype of fried chicken. Black people love fried chicken when everybody loves fried chicken.
Okay, there's no way that I intentionally timestamped that. That's my boy set me up on that, dude. My boy fucking set me up on that, dude. That's fucked up, Ryan. You set me up on black people love fried chicken. That's messed up, dude. I'm just kidding. I mean, like, no, it was unintentional, but I am joking about setting me up.
All right. I wanted to share that because the things that we've normalized in this society, I want people to think for themselves. That's going to be a running theme in today's video. Think for yourself. All right. Let's get into the first clip. There was apparently no ambulance that day for Charlie Kirk. Let's talk about that a little bit.
It's on standby.
Very few.
The audio, I did not know was going to be this low. There's not much I can do about it, you all. I do apologize. Listen as best you can. And there are also captions at the very bottom.
Ambulance on standby.
Very few.
The events you did outdoors that were similar to this, what percentage would you say you had a ambulance on standby?
Very few. Very few. You know, again, you have to look at the rules of emergency medicine also.
And obviously, it's Paramount Tactical who's doing the interview. And so you're like, all right, is he going to ask the hard question? Like, hey, dude, do you have an explanation for why the medical or the first aid, the emergency responders who were there were not allowed to touch Charlie, that you guys just like acted like they weren't there? You blocked them initially and then boxed them out when you were putting them into the car and then just never accepted their help. It's like, I think probably, if I was going to guess, that's not the guy that you can rely on to ask that question, and he doesn't, obviously.
And the rules are they're not going to give aid unless the scene's safe.
Right.
And in the paramedics that were at UVU, they took off and took cover just like everybody else.
Oopsie. Oops. Nope. No, they didn't. There you go. And that brought us to our first clip right there, where he's talking about why wouldn't he let him in the car. So, why lie about that, dude? And I know lots of people are going to be like, because they whacked him out. Totally. Got it. Moving along, check out the casket stuff.
Realize that we still don't know where Charlie Kirk is buried, right? And
there's another thing. We don't know where he's buried. Why? Because they believe that some of us out here may be so radical that we just need to know if that man actually passed away, that they just wouldn't tell people, including the people closest, that was the closest to Charlie. We don't know where his body is. Now, again, the other side are going to say, well, it's because they don't want us to examine the body. That's what this gentleman is going to say as well. They know if we get to examine the body, what the average person not going to get to examine the body and be able to tell.
That is another point that falls into the exact category that I always bring up, which is like people who suspect that TPUSA was involved in murdering Charlie are literally looking at nearly identical evidence and just coming up with a different conclusion. That's why I got no beef with people who think that. I don't agree. And I mean, I would put my level of confidence that they did not do it just based on my experience with people looking at who these people are. I would call myself 99.9% positive that they would not participate in a murder, but that's the only place where we differ. We're looking at the same stuff and going, dude, what is this? And the answer, if he's alive, is it answers it also,
So why is it truly that we don't know where this body is? Well, what's the real reason?
looking back on this video of Erica Kirk crying over Charlie's body, something felt weird about it, and not for the obvious reasons. Like, it should have been a private moment, yes, not a public moment, but that's not what bothered me, and I couldn't quite figure it out until I started looking at the dates. Charlie was assassinated on September 10th, and this video was posted by Erica just 2 days later on the 12th. The highest profile political assassination since JFK.
Whoa, just in case that is going to show anything. Fast forward. But this brings up a very important point that should be on everybody's radar, just period. Everything seems to have happened pretty fast. You know what I mean? Seems like everything happened pretty fast. It's not like I have a million years of experience observing people reacting to gigantic political assassinations, but I have enough experience to know what happens in human life on the other side of that. And it's like, dude, everyone's in shock. Okay. The first 24 hours, people are literally zombies. Okay. They're going to be zombies. They're going to be looking at each other. They're like, their world just detonated underneath them, dude. Okay. Like there's not something that could happen to the people involved in this thing that would be a bigger deal in terms of destabilizing their lives than Charlie getting murdered. The TPUSA group, I realize like it's been long enough now that people think of TPUSA as this organization that runs absent Charlie. But when he first, got, written out of the movie script, it's like people were like, dude, I don't know if they're going to make it. Like it was such a top heavy organization. TPUSA was Charlie and then a bunch of supporting actors, which I'm not saying that they didn't all serve a really important value to the organization, but that's different than oh my gosh, all of a sudden we lose our, like, the figurehead who was very heavily involved in all of the stuff that we're doing. And especially it being Charlie, who's like a strategy guy too. And all, it's like, okay, we're moving fast. And his wife ends up put in as CEO. Like, she is going to be the most like, what's my life now? Like, literally, what is my life? The families are going to be around. They're not, dude, in the first 2 days, the families are not going to address anything having to do with business in any type of reality that I've ever been anywhere near, you know, and all of this. They're doing all of this stuff so quickly.
Arizona.
Like it was planned in advance is my point, just to make sure that I put a bow on that, like it was planned in advance.
Bingo.
The body couldn't have been in the state's evidence longer than 24 hours, which
Bingo.
is really crazy when you think about it. Definitely when it was just announced publicly that the state suspect, Tyler Robinson, was put in the custody that exact same day of the 12th. The manhunt lasted for 33 hours. That's suspect. 33 hours. On top of that, we don't even know where Charlie...
By the way, they talk about a lot of Freemason stuff in here. And I'm not super familiar with all of that numerology stuff and the Freemasons. So if I'm not commenting on it, it's not because I don't think there's anything to it. I'm just not an expert. So I don't have a lot to add to it.
Is buried, and the excuse is vandalism, but that's not the full reason. They really don't want his body being exhumed because the body holds the key for disproving the Tyler Robinson narrative.
Or there's no body.
Of the 30-06 gunshot.
Allegedly. Which, shout out to Brian, the auditor. He made a great point. What is it with these 30-06? The same thing happened with MLK as well. Is there something about that 3 and that 6 number that they want us to just be ingrained in our brains? More to come on that as well in today's live. A 30-06, 3 and the 6. Interesting.
Now, I will listen. I will always be upfront about things that don't fit into the theory because I don't know, like I have way less attachment to being right than I do to being honest with everything that's going. Like Andrew Wilson has this stolen valor thing going on right now, where he apparently said on a podcast that he served in the army and then it turned out not to be true. And then he went back on it. It's like, my methodology has always been the exact opposite of that. I literally radical honesty. I'll tell you exactly what I'm thinking all the time. I'll tell you anything that has ever happened to me, anything I've ever done, anything like that. There is no dirt because I just vomit all of my thoughts out. Not because I don't have any control over it, but because that is how I believe is the right way to do this. And in that vein, I can't look at this and not notice that you have this unbelievable amount of planning, which you would think, on the Tyler Robinson side, which is all theoretical also, but I would guess that either in on it or is a patsy because they found all of this nasty, horrific stuff on his computer, stuff bad enough that would justify, like, who cares what happens to this kid? He should be dead anyway if he's downloading, baby, nightmare fuel. But the part that is like, it's planned ahead, there are such astronomical mistakes that I can't explain. Example being, it's an old World War II rifle. Okay. Well, how come the picture is not that? That doesn't seem like that would be a detail that would be very challenging to make sure that you got right? You could plant it before the crime even happens if you're going to be doing that stuff. And so the fact that the picture that we have is like some like Ruger American or like a Mauser, but like completely not a relic, which is what has been reported and is critical to the, to the official story, like that, I can't reconcile that. It could be some kind of mistake, who knows? But like, if they're so surgically planning everything, I don't understand how they could have fucked that up. So, you know what I mean? So I struggle with that part because that is such a critical piece of a plan. If this is what you're doing, if you're planning it, the person you're going to pin it on, absolutely critical. And and having the story good, also critical. So thinking out loud also, this official story is so bad. It's so bad. It has so many holes in it. They have no video. In the age of AI, they have no video that even moderately looks like Tyler Robinson from my perspective. The gun is wrong. It's the wrong caliber, impossible ballistics from my own testing. All all of those things that don't make any sense. I start to think that maybe they intentionally botched it, right? Like it's an intentionally bad case so that maybe they wanted people to, do the conspiracy theory thing, or maybe they just wanted a shitty case to make sure that their kid who's in on it is going to get off in the trial. And it started a, chain of events that were unforeseen, but there's no way for me to know on that. But that bothers me, that I can't place that.
It would still have bomb residue all over him, but could be detected in his hair. So they aren't going to reveal the location of his burial until the Tyler Robinson trial is over and done with.
Well, and keep in mind, the only reason that we know that the body is in an undisclosed place or whatever is because Milo went on Timcast and he said, I know for an incontrovertible fact that Charlie Kirk has not been buried yet. And honestly, had they not come out and done the media tour afterwards, I would have been like, well, Milo sounded confident, but how the hell would he know? It wouldn't have become canon that Charlie had not been buried until Erica did the press tour 7 days after that. Can I just have this one thing? Can I just have this one thing? You're like, you videotaped yourself draped over his coffin. Like, this is weird that you're asking for privacy now, but.
Here's a very important question. He just raised some great points, all from the perspective that he believes Charlie was set up. I'm asking all the same questions because I suspect a different outcome. Why would something like this be filmed? Is it all right for me to ask that question?
It is correct for you to ask that question. Because for the people who think that this indicates that they whacked him out, all the weirdness around this, you're not thinking through what the inevitable outcome of doing this is going to be. Okay. If they film all of this stuff and they put all of this stuff out there, which is super weird, like it's super weird. Yes, there is, because you have the benefit of having seen it and it's so weird and not believable that you're like, I don't believe it. But if you think through what it would have done if it were believable and they pulled it off, then it's like, that's why it's filmed. To sell everybody that this is real. They just like, she's not Daniel Day-Lewis, man. Talk about like the hardest role you could ever imagine playing. It's like, okay, ready? You're going to play, widowed wife whose husband just got murdered, like your real husband that you love. You have to pretend that he got murdered and you only get one take. And for sure, there will be millions of people watching, in some cases live. Okay, go nail it. Like that's not even the type of environment that fucking Hollywood professional actors act under. That's 100 times higher pressure acting than, okay, Leonardo DiCaprio, you do this, like you mess up a take, you do it again, then 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 you do it again. The stakes are Mount Everest high, and you're not even professional actors, like at all, like very, very clearly not.
Let's go on a journey in today's live. That's what I want to do. I want to go on a journey. Can we do that? Why was this recorded? It's the same reason I'm asking about Erica recording the whole Charlie, and apparently she was mic'd up in that footage to make sure that you heard her. More to come on Erica in today's live too. Why would you record something like this? Like, let me just put the chat up here because somebody's going to be able to answer this for me. Why would you record this video? Are you trying to convince somebody of something? Same thing with Erica crying over this thing that supposedly is Charlie Kirk. This mannequin, this person that's supposedly Charlie Kirk, but they don't ever show the face.
Hands are pretty missized too. And again, like just to make sure that I'm kind of looking at all of the options, because again, I don't know anything, dude. Like when I go through my evidence that Lance is incredibly suspect on this case, I'm not playing make believe. Like I went way down that path. Like Lance and the leftists, I researched that with my guy ad nauseum, right? So I'm not saying that that's not true. What I'm saying is over here in this theory that we're operating in right now, like, let's just say that Charlie died, and like just Charlie died. The idea that you're going to be like organizing your audio visual team to come and document something like this is so unfathomable, dude. Like, people are going to be in deep mourning. You are going to give people the week off. You're going to be like, everybody needs some time. If there's going to be a service, it's going to be somber. There's not going to be anyone going around miking people up. It's impossible from my experience with human beings. Oh, by the way, we'll do super chats like later. I'll get to all of them, I promise, but we're going to do them later. I don't want to lose my spot.
Why would you record this?
To sell people.
What does this serve?
It convinces people that he's really dead.
What does this serve? Another question. Remember, supposedly an entire section of the hospital was shut down 2 hours before. So we have footage of them in the parking lot, that being Blakey Neff and Mikey McCoy and the crew showing up to the hospital. Okay, cool. Y'all were physically there. Why do we not have any footage from the hospital?
I think the bigger question there, like we discussed earlier, where I lost my shit even talking about it, when I was like, they cleared the hospital out 2 hours before he was shot, you guys. Assuming that's true. And by the way, what I noticed is that since Candace ran that story, I did not see a single person at TPUSA push back on that. I could have missed it, but I didn't see it. If one of you guys saw it, you could put it in the chat or hook a link to it. But if that's true, what are we talking about here, guys? Like, what are we doing? And again, I feel comfortable talking about this because, again, I'm not trying to bring down TPUSA at all. I was trying to do the opposite with this. And so I feel kind of weird talking about this like publicly, but I know that this is, it sounds so out there that it's like impossible that more than 25% of my audience will realize that this is what happened, regardless of what I say. But like, hey, Charlie knows I'm right. Charlie knows I sniffed it out. But I'm just kidding you guys. But yeah, the hospital getting cleared out 2 hours before the event. Like, what possible other explanation could there be for that? I'm like very open to hearing anyone else's theory. If they cleared out the hospital he was going to go to 2 hours before, like, and then they have no other explanation for it. Like, there's no storm coming or something. Why? You know what I mean?
It's because here's the first time I will give some considerable amount of pushback to those that believe that Charlie Kirk was set up. If you are arguing that Charlie was set up, what would need to have been hidden at the hospital? Like, what are the possibilities? And I don't mean that in a condescending tone. I genuinely mean, what could it have been? Like, what are the possibilities? The realm of possibilities. What are you hiding at the hospital? Do you want us to see that it's not what we were told it was? Not from the sense of setting them up, just all together. Did Charlie Kirk ever go to the hospital? Let's start there. Because you know that hospitals have cameras all over the place. That's what I want to see.
That would never happen, though, just on, there's like a million, laws around that, HIPAA laws and stuff. But he's right. There would be something,
So we have no physical body. We don't know where he's buried. And there's no footage from the hospital. Why do we believe that he was taken out? other than we just don't think that it was in Charlie's character to do so?
Because everyone saw it. That's the thing that's so wild about this, is like the power of an image, of seeing it with your own eyes, is so powerful. It's like it's a fascinating anthropological study for me. Like, where I'm looking and I'm like, I don't understand. These guys are really fucking smart. Like, people I'm talking to, I'm like, they're really fucking smart. How do they not see this? Like, I don't understand. Like, I genuinely do not understand. Like, because once you see, it's literally like someone takes a blindfold off and you look, you're like, oh my God, dude, this is so fucking obvious. It's so obvious. It fucking hurts. It's so obvious, dude. It's fucking crazy. Once you see it, you literally look, you're like, oh my God, dude, how did it take me that long? And if someone wouldn't have brought it to me, I never would have saw it. I would have never seen it, for sure. If someone had like someone who I respected brought it to me and been like, no, man, really, look, I never would have seen it. And then once you do and you start going backwards, you're like, oh my God, dude. But again, that doesn't mean I know for sure. It's obvious that it's possible, is what I meant.
I didn't know Charlie Kirk. I already told you all with some of these people, I'm not so sure that some of these people are human, but that's a conversation for another day. I'm not going to give people an easy out to say I'm just this big conspiracy theory.
Well, you just did, Dee. Jeez. You just did. They're like, Jesse doesn't think these people are human. He thinks they're all reptilians. I'm like, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to move us forward a little bit to where we're going to take a look here at, oh, wait, I'm sorry. We already did that one. Oh, you guys already know about the, wait, Charlie makes the devil sign with, I've never seen that before. Hang on. I need to watch that on the side before I even show this. But here's here's more. And you know what? Actually, I don't even want to show that one, because this girl's mom called me after this. This was about the crisis, maybe not crisis actors, but there was the videos on Candace's episode where people just were like, yeah, he got shot in the chest. Like, he got shot in the chest, and just as clear as they all said it. And then later on, they got interviewed again, and they're like, yeah, he got shot in the neck. Like, they weren't saying they heard it. They said they saw it. Out of respect for the mom that I talked to, and the fact that if they are involved, I think they're probably doing something they believe is good. I won't show that again. But, okay. So here we go. Let's do this one.
It says here, this is Nate Walker. Let me zoom in a little bit more. This is Nate Walker, Charlie's personal assistant. Roughly 105 seconds. That's a minute and a half. It's not even 2 minutes. 105 seconds after Charlie was unalived in front of him, allegedly. He's casually walking across campus, slipping on his sunglasses with an almost surreal level of everyday normalcy. Everyday normalcy. I'm sure someone will tell us there's a perfectly innocent explanation. I'd like to know what the explanation actually is. Let's take a look at this footage.
I'm getting blown up on the side. People who I know are like, you have to show the crisis actors. They're not, I mean, I don't know. Again, if I do, I need, I'm very conflicted about that because it's very compelling.
I don't know if that's going to be copyrighted, so I'm going to just mute it. Look at this. And now the full clip from Candace's show.
This is him immediately following the explosive around 12:25. So about, I guess, a minute.
The explosive.
In 45 seconds afterward. Here he is up near the Flag of Halls walkway, putting on sunglasses. And he doesn't have his bag.
Did I miss the front side of this?
Here he comes.
And it's almost like once he saw the camera, he put on his shades. What is this?
Oh,
He's not
this is
screaming.
okay.
He's not confused. He's not yelling.
This is a crisis actor section that I tried to keep the little girls out of. I think we got to watch it, dude. Everybody, if anybody fucks with these little girls after seeing this, I will find you and I will fucking ruin your life. Don't mess around with these girls. I talked to their mom. She's very, very nice. They're nice people. This is just a clip that needs to, they're like, she's adamant that they are not, you know what? I can't. I'm not fucking showing it. I take it back. I can't do it, you guys. I can't do it. I'm not doing it. I can't do it, dude. Let's just go to Erica.
Of 2001, who's been arrested? It's being presented to us as if to make us feel better. Justice is going to be served, but I don't believe it will be. Let's get to the lady of the hour. I'm not going to play too much of the video, but we are going to play the beginning parts, and I'm going to take you all back. Mrs. Erica Kirk. Watch Erica Kirk delivers first public remarks after fading pow-powing of her husband, 33. I mean, Charlie Kirk. Let's watch just beginning parts of this. I have to give credit where it's due. Shout out to Jesse on Fire. I watched part of his video the other day, and he reacted to this. He took us back. So I'm going to take you all back as well.
Yeah, this is literally within, I think, 48 hours of Charlie getting killed. And again, I will say what I said in my video. Just how does it make you feel? Now that you have the benefit of hindsight, do you think that she's acting or that her husband just got killed?
Because it's been a while since I've watched this. And even though it was creepy when it happened, and I'm not going to say all the names, some of us out there was pretending that there was nothing weird about this, including her memorial speech, calling it one of the most inconsequential speeches ever, when everybody saw that there was something off and something wrong with this lady.
He's talking about Candace, and that's notable, and I'll tell you why. Because everyone who's saying that Candace was set out to like attack Erica or go after TPUSA, that's 100% not true. Because Candace had her back completely when this started. Like completely had Erica's back. And it wasn't until these guys started getting caught in lies that she started going after him. That's just historical fact. That part, that's the one statement of fact that I will make in this entire stream. This is a fact that after this happened, Candace 100% had Erica's back completely. And it only was when shit went weird that she started changing how she was addressing that group. That's just what happened.
When you go back now and you watch this video, it's just another case of horrible acting. I know we've all said it. I know we all believe it. I know we all suspicious of Erica, but in conjunction and within the confines of this video and what I'm trying to relay over to you all, look at this video through those lenses. Through those lenses, watch this video now. Wouldn't it make more sense why this person had to force himself to try to cry? Wait until they get on camera to whisper under the microphone. As she's going to say, Jesus, the widow.
I remember she's like, oh, this is real. Oh my God, it's real.
Let's watch this with the context that has been presented in today's live.
Jesus.
Performative. You say, well, you can't control. No, stop it. Miss me with the BS. Performative. Let me wait until I get on camera. Let me wait until I'm mic'd up so people can see me and hear me say that. Woe me, I'm upset. This is going to be very difficult for me, which will be a lot more believable until she starts speaking.
And you know what's another thing that I actually forgot until right this second that I talked about all the time in the early stages of this thing, when, of course, why would I have any question about the validity of what happened, is I was like, you guys, she's a beauty queen. Okay. Like beauty queens, when they get on stage and they are in front of the thing, they do that like weird performative way of like presenting themselves. You know what I mean? Like that's what they do. They're like, I am from North Carolina and I am going to end world hunger. I'm going to start a charity in Romania. I'm going to do all of the things that are definitely only going to be benefits to the world. And it's never going to come back and bite me in the ass later when whatever happens. It's like, that's like the way that that's the way they do it. So I watch this. I'm like, oh, she's just doing the beauty queen thing. But it's like, I can't watch that shit either. You know, like I don't watch Miss Universe, dude. I can't watch that kind of weird shit, dude. It's like, I want to see people who communicate like they are being normal. But that is, again, that's the acting style, dude. So I wrote it off as that before, but now watching it again, it's like, oh my gosh, man, come on.
Voice never crackles. Nothing about your voice says that you're struggling, lady. The face that you're giving, that you're trying to portray, is the complete opposite of your voice. Your voice sounds like a normal person that's trying to figure out how to be in this moment, but it doesn't work. Because once again, much like Mikey McCoy, she's not a great actor. Oh boy. Oh boy.
It's hard, man.
Good evening.
What up?
My name is Erica Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband.
Is your husband? Okay.
Yeah, and they were doing Easter eggs all the time back then, dude. The number of times that they were like winking and nodding at, like, inside joking that he's still around was like overwhelming.
You say, well, maybe she's in denial. Okay, fair, fine.
I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice.
The one that you forgave right away. Why does she sound so poised? Oh, because she's such a strong woman. Stop it. I've seen videos of people putting their dogs down, struggling more than that. If I had to put my dog down, I would not be okay. She's just been an integral part of my life, especially given that I don't have children yet, you know? Your husband? Why do you sound so poised? Well, maybe there's nothing to be sad about. Maybe that's why.
Maybe Charlie's behind the camera.
I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically. Heroically.
Oh, my. Dude.
Oh, man.
It's like
I've never watched this with someone else before. That was like, that was crazy. Both he and I, our heads hit the floor at the exact same moment. That's wild, dude. That's funny. Both of us at the exact same time. Oh my God.
In acting class, and then the teacher is like, or the professor is giving you pointers, and the script says behaved heroically. And then he shows you a clip from a film and say it like this. And then you look and you say heroically. The professor's going to say, no, cut, stop.
Yeah.
There's not supposed to be a gap like that.
No one talks like that in real life.
Supposed to say heroically. There's supposed to be some sort of natural flow within it. There's not supposed to be this breakup, because the disconnect is going to communicate that you're an amateur actor. It's almost like you're trying to rehearse it or memorize it. It's not supposed to be that way.
An amateur actor, literally in the most, like the hardest acting job of all time, with the highest stakes, highest pressure. It's insane that they threw her into this. If this is true, if we're right, and there's let's say high probability that we're wrong. But if we're right, that was a wild leap of faith, dude. You know?
But that's okay. That's why we're in acting school. You're not on the big screen yet. The problem is she's on the big screen. Even though we know she has a history in acting, which Charlie Kirk would have known about that as well, but we'll get to that, because Charlie Kirk somehow has been let off the hook with all these people that's at TPUSA that he either hired, or, as I understand, Tyler Boyer was responsible for hiring all these people. All right, fine. Charlie Kirk had some hand at some point with some of these people. He didn't know any of the things that we've since found out about these people. That's a tough sell, bro. That's a tough sell. Charlie Kirk wasn't my friend, so it's not as hard for me to be honest about this.
To save Charles's life, and the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon. I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family these past 2 days.
She sounds so poised. I can't get over that.
And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board.
Why are they being thanked right now? What? Why does any of that matter? The board, what did they do?
The COO, Justin Strife, and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy.
Oh boy.
For showing poise, showing such poise under pressure, where he was able to calmly put the phone to his ear and beeline to the editing truck or wherever the fuck he was going, completely poised, and then be a part of the most convincing podcast ever within, I believe it was like 8 days. That's forthcoming, where Erica and him and Colvett and Blake Neff, who, again, I will just say this, just in case he sees it. Blake, you look like you got kidnapped on this thing. If I was going to hypothesize your feelings on doing this in the first place, I would guess you were not very excited. And then you feel vindicated and mad at the same time when it went this sideways. But nonetheless, you know, none of them were pulling it off. It's like, dude, Charlie got murdered. He got murdered. It's like, you know, there's a piece of Charlie in all of you guys, right? And Mikey's like, oh yeah, my love smiles. It's like, okay, that amount of grief sucks the joy out of everything. There's no smiling. There's nothing that can make you happy. Nothing. Okay. You're incapable of happiness. If no one in your family has died like that, okay, like think of how you felt when your pet died or something, like genuinely what that feels like. Okay. Like my uncle, closest relative, like the relative I was most close to my entire childhood, died on New Year's Eve in 2007. Dude, you couldn't have fucking dragged. You could have been like, hey, it's New Year's, man. Let's just chemically put, let's just do it with chemicals. Drink all the booze. Take this. There's nothing, like nothing could have dragged that face out of me. Like nothing. Like, is it not possible? Impossible. And like, they're just like, la, 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 la. It just makes no sense, dude. Makes no sense. And I don't believe they're evil. I've never believed they're evil. That's why I was always confident about this.
For all their work in these terrible days, to be the stability for our family and for the wider Turning Point USA family as well.
There's literally no emotion. There's no mourning. There's no trembling, no crackling. There's nothing. This is a normal person speaking to us, bro. A normal person. All right. And I was just speaking about like just the people at TPUSA who's been hired, et cetera, et cetera. Let's let me do this. Because have any of you all seen Andrew Colvett cry? How about Blake Neff, Mikey McCoy, Tyler Boyd, any of these people? Why have all of them been able to carry themselves so well? If they hate Candace Owens so much, why not just unfollow Candace? Duh. Instead, they're religiously watching her show. They're going back and forth like theater, retweeting her like theater. It's weird. When all of it could be solved by simply coming on camera, but they know to do that will probably put more things to rest than not. So just keep it going. It's very strange. Just come on camera and talk with people. Let me I'm gonna show you all something that I retweeted something a few days ago that I found very interesting. It says here, this is how you know that these folks, this is how you know that these folks are guilty of something. Why argue against every critic that doesn't buy the Fed narrative? Confusing. How do you know for a fact what happened? Why not entertain the possibility of something else that may have happened? Very weird. Rob O'Neill went on Newsmax and said the following about Charlie's pow-powing. I don't think Charlie Kirk got pow-powed the way they're saying. It seems like a cover-up. Right? Former Army Ranger, sniper, and Green Beret, Matt Tardio's response, yep, he's wrong. They only have people on the show that are against it, but that's a red herring. What do I mean? None of this matters, people. That's my theory. None of this matters, and they know none of it matters. We'll never see Charlie's body.
That is an excellent point. Like, and now there's an answer to it, of course, which is if you believe that Tyler really did this, then you wouldn't want to put any messages out that might put that case in danger. For sure, that's true. But at a certain point, like the amount of information that's coming out is so overwhelming where it's like, guys, you want to catch Charlie's killers, right? Like you want to catch the real ones. And again, from the very beginning, because my journey's so different than everybody else's. Okay. When I was originally investigating all of the leftists, right? Like I'm looking at the guy who's cheering in the crowd. Anybody who watches my content, like consistently knows where that fucking led, right? The guy who stands up and is cheering, the Lance Twiggs connection, all of those gamers. I pulled all the Sky Valdez. We got into all of that shit, dude. We got into their Steam accounts. We're connecting this leftist to that leftist. Here's all of their different gamer handles. That's why I'm saying, like, if you're watching this and you think that like this is just my only, like, don't think that when I put stuff out about Lance Twiggs that means you don't need to watch it, because like there are two completely separate investigations. Like we got into theirs that it said that one of the guys, I think I just put this out, Lance Twiggs changed his gamer tag to homicidal maniac on September 6th. Sky Valdez, okay, is this character in this story who looks just like the person who's on campus, who put out a video or put out a song, Charlie Kirk dead at 31, 3 weeks before Charlie's killed. He put out a photograph of someone in a prone position on a roof the same day, titled Roof. There's a person who's connected to Lance in their Steam conversations named Sky, same spelling. This person, Sky Valdez, announced their own death a day after the information about them came out. The next day, there's a self-made obituary on Facebook for this person, Sky Valdez. Okay. All of that stuff, dude, like all of that stuff happened. And I'm looking over there going, why are they not investigating these? I don't understand. And again, I had assumed that there must be a reason that they must be setting up on all of them, which they weren't, right? Now, without going down a huge rabbit hole related to how I ended up, how did one of those people get through my screening, dude? That is, what the fuck, dude? What? How did they do that? Do you guys get cold calls from people that are trying to give you business funding every single day? Because I do, and I have screens on it, and they're not, I don't know how that person got through it. But anyway, yeah, so like there's the story with the cheering guy and how I ended up engaged, talking to like some really high level people in the FBI about what we had found. And I had been advised before I actually spoke to them by Chris Pihota, who's the retired division chief who was running the FBI division that ran the Las Vegas massacre, Mandalay Bay shooting. Like he was the top brass on that case. And he told me, he's like, what you want to make sure that you do is how you frame this thing. And I'm just talking about to get you in the door so they'll listen. Don't frame it in a way that's going to challenge their prosecution of that kid. And he's like, make sure that they know you're not trying to like, you know, break that case, because that will make them apprehensive to look at it, because, you know, that's their incentive, is to like close cases. And, you know, this is disconnected from the thing. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. Like, and so I framed it that way, but so you could see how TPUSA would kind of fall into that same thing. If they're being told like, oh yeah, he did it. And they're like, okay, well, you know, we want to push back against it. But at a certain point with stuff that comes out, you're like, guys, why are you guys not pushing on this? And it's going to stop making sense at a certain point, you know, like the caliber stuff, whatever, you know, 30-6, like, okay, fine. Like, so I guess it's plausible in some far off land that this 30, you know, based on the research that Andrew Wilson did in his, you know, the papers from the fucking War Department or whatever. It's like, oh, let's compare. Me and Heavy Duty Country, we fired every single known 30-6 that you can buy off of a shelf, and they all obliterated something much thicker, harder than Charlie's neck by I mean, he would have been decapitated. I even bought 1945 Frange rounds, and we shot those, degraded powder, and they still obliterated everything. That's our testing. But Valhalla bought a fucking pig, a gigantic pig, way, way bigger, tougher than Charlie, tested it from the exact vantage and angle, blew right through it. And it's like, yeah, but I read army documentation. You're like, okay, you know, well, maybe yours is right. What do I know? But it just seems like at a certain point, the lack of interest in exploring those things. Like Colvin, in his defense, did say, he's like, I want to know more about what Lance Twiggs knows. Or, oh yeah? Yeah, I would say so. His fucking DNA is on every single piece of evidence, in some cases more than Tyler's, including the Dremel that supposedly engraved these bullets. Like, yeah, I would assume that you'd want to be interested in that kid, you know? But everything looks different on the other side, and I'm only entertaining that in the event that this theory is not correct, because this theory clearly explains everything. Okay, hang on. I'm going to do some super chats real quick because I'm way behind. Ellen Bell, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Son of Emerson, thank you very much. Laptop in-screen bouncing. Wait, what? That's super weird. I don't know why that would be. Neil and Kathy Franklin, look into Joseph Scott Morgan and Julian Dory kinetic energy and such. Oh, I will. I've looked at some of that stuff. Bridget Joe, thank you very much. Appreciate you. For the card, thank you, sir. CK new plan A, 2 fake, unaware of extension by team. You want to know another very interesting point that I pulled from Barron's guest appearance on Julian Dory's is, he said, what if it rains? He's like, what if it rains? Then what are you going to do? And he's talking about, like, if you're going to set up on a place, then you need to know that it's, if there are contingencies that could, or variables that could mess your plan up. And I just planted that in the back of my brain, then found out that the next stop on their trip was also another Utah college. And there was someone who was in charge of either security or policing from that college on site at UVU, according to the report that I read. And I'm like, oh, that's their contingency plan. If it doesn't work out, if something happens, there's whatever, Utah Valley, then they run it back and they've got another chance to do it. Because in order for this to be true, you have to have incredible alignment and participation at the state level in Utah, period. Basically, and that I can kind of run through. If it's correct, you have Trump has to greenlight this for sure. JD, I would assume, Cash, who, people around there. Then you have, the TPUSA group, I'm sure, whatever, military people are helping them kind of organize this. Maybe that's the Fort Huachuca thing where they practice this over and over and over. If this is what happened. And then on the state side, you have to have participation at the Utah state side, and Utah being LDS, it's the state where, I mean, this is different for me because I've lived there before. I mean, like, I've been to Orem a million times. I know a lot of people out there, and I always am very complimentary of that culture, and I will remain that today. As far as a state where you could rely on top-down control, which is also not just state government, it's also the church is intertwined into all of it. You know what I mean? So like it's a secondary, much more powerful layer of, you know, this is why we can rely on this. You know what I mean? Jesse, please don't let something from a year ago cost you investigation. A damn fine detective. Wait, Jesse, I'm sorry. Please don't let something from a year ago cost you the investigation. A damn fine detective. I was an entirely different person myself then. Something from a year ago cost you. I'm confused. I'm not sure what that means. Appreciate the super chat. Maybe DM it or whatever later. I'm not sure how to respond to that. T Bizzle Barron thinks Blake and Andrew K are lying piece of shit scumbags that deceive Charlie. That Erica is a deeply dishonest person. If you are good at reading people, why do you believe that they are good people that would never harm Charlie? Because I'm watched footage of all of them interacting. Like, I'm not saying I know exactly what they would do all the time, but I could pick out people who are capable of that level of deceit, and none of them have it from my perspective. Like, you're talking about, like, they are super close friends. That's not disputable. I would literally, dude, I would fucking hand on a table, chop it off if I'm wrong. Because I've seen them all interact. I've seen them all interact when they're all relaxed. Like, that's just what it is. They were close. Doesn't mean that doesn't mean that they are incapable of deceiving someone who they were very close with, but they were and are super, super close friends. Like, all those guys. Actually, you know what? I've never seen Andrew Colvett with Charlie. I take that back. I'm talking like I've seen Tyler Boyer and all of those guys with Charlie on the show. Wait, am I mistaken? It doesn't matter. Whatever. Like, I mean, that's my read. I'm not like competing with other people on anything. I'm telling you what my opinion is. The way they've broken things down in this theory makes sense. I would, for my children these days, question everything because nothing seems real. It's all a show. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, my buddy actually made this point to me 2 days ago, and I told him I was going to steal it from him. He's like, the reality, though, is that it doesn't matter if this theory is right or not. And I was like, elaborate. He's like, if it is real, the character Charlie Kirk has been written out of the script. Like, that character's gone. If the person who was playing Charlie Kirk is still around, then, that's interesting. And it's like a fun thing to speculate about, but that is inconsequential as it relates to like the show that's on. Because the thing is, like, I'm not saying everything we see is not real, but there is a show that is going on all the time. I'm even part of it. Anybody who's making content and has people watching their stuff is part of the show. And as far as the show is concerned, the character of Charlie Kirk is written out of the script. It's gone. It doesn't matter. He's gone. I personally hope very much that I'm right. And that character who I like very much is on a compound somewhere with clean drinking water that would survive nuclear war. And, and that I'm right. And that these people are good people. I would never root for something like that to be true. Now, in fairness, I give people the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes I could make a pretty good read and go, fuck that guy. But I'll find the bad in people very quickly. But as it relates to people's relationships, if they're capable of being good friends, I will see it. And, again, I can be biased because, like, I take my friendships very seriously. I would never betray any of my friends, ever. Just fucking never. T-Bizzle says, Jesse, I know you're busy moving, but do you have any good member shows lined up? P.S. Love or mid-functioning dimwit. Probably today. Yeah, I'll probably do one tomorrow, actually. Probably do one tomorrow. And international muck-up to make it a conspiracy theory, then we're all crazy. Wait, international muck-up to make it a conspiracy theory, then we're all crazy. I don't know how to respond to that, but yeah. Sorry, dude. Stephanie, thank you for the super. Thank you very much. Been trying to catch a live. Love your content. I'm on the same page as you. No hard feelings intended, but it sucks hearing people say, I said it first. I just want to know what happened. Does it matter who found it first? No, of course. No, it doesn't matter. Not at all. Did I say it? Did I say I said it first? If I'm just saying, like, honestly, like, unless I'm unaware of them, like, I put a lot of, like, there were obviously people who had the theory that Charlie was alive way before me, because how would I would have never even looked at this stuff. Like, there has to be stuff to look at. But, I certainly rubber stamp my name on the theory, even though, again, there's no way for me to know for sure. But it's a theory that makes sense. And then I'm going to show you guys something as soon as we're done with these super chats too, that will tie back to all of it. Lulu said, Jesse, the DD got a podcast guy just live trashing Candace Owens for earning money off her Charlie Kirk content while his own stream is also monetized. Go figure. I mean, I couldn't get to where I was clear on what his opinion of Candace's like place in this is, but I've always believed that Candace is operating from a position of if she's in on this, then I can't tell. Candace is beyond my ability to read if my read is wrong, because I've always believed that she was genuine when she was doing this stuff. I've never once have I looked at her, I'm like, nah, I think she's faking it. Like faking it doesn't really, I don't align her with that ever, which in all honesty, if this theory is right, could be why they didn't include her, or it could be because there were people who were going to need to be involved who had some kind of conflict with her. Who knows? You know what I mean? Who knows? But yeah, I'm only responsible for my own opinions. You know what I mean? 5-year-old mama boys, what's up? I think that why your theory bothers me so much is the credit or grace that you give him. CK wouldn't hire Andrew Wilson, talk to reporters he hates, Shapiro, all snakes. Why would Ben Shapiro be in the know? Oh, I don't think Ben Shapiro would be in the know. I'm not saying any of them are in the know. Like Andrew Wilson? Fuck no, that guy doesn't. He doesn't know shit. Like that, he doesn't know fucking anything. And Ben Shapiro, I don't see why he would know. Wait, and talk to the reporters he hates, like all snakes. Ben Shapiro, yeah, I'm not giving Ben Shapiro any credit or grace, or Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson just bit off a fucking thing that he did not understand. But yeah, if you're just talking about them, then whatever. Literally anybody who has that's one thing. Anybody who is suspicious of DPUSA having been involved in this, that gets mad at this theory, is super bizarre to me, because I'm like, guys, I'm saying I'm agreeing with you about everything except my conclusion. I'm like, I don't believe that they could possibly be that evil. They're like, well, fuck you. They are that evil. It's like, okay, but like, I like to live in a world where I think best friends don't do this to each other. Well, I live in one where they do. So screw you, Jesse on Fire. Your theory's bullshit. It's like, all right, sorry. You know what I mean? That's literally what it's like. If people think the DPUSA did it and they get mad at me, I'm like, I'm literally agreeing with everything that you're saying, except I just think I hope that they would not have done that. And I think that this answers the questions in a way that's more realistic than the alternative. You know what I mean? Jesse's going to find Charlie alive before I find the matching lid to my Tupperware. That's never going to happen. It's a one-way ticket, dude. If this is what they did, it's a one-way ticket. The top of your laptop is in frame. Oh, thank you, dude. Jeez. Son of Emerson. I play a game with my kids, and it's called Best Kid. So like when my kid does something where I'm like, oh, best kid. Best viewer today. Thank you for that. A double fucking super chat to let me know that okay, sorry about that, you guys. Okay, so I am going to show you guys one part from the series that I did, because I always come back to this in terms of like, someone needs to explain to me how this is possible. Like, how is this possible? It's things where like you are forced to confront the fact that both of your options are very far-fetched, but one of them has to be true, right? Okay, check this out. Up, and you're going to start questioning whether this is possible, because everything that has been weird so far gets answered by this answer. All right, so we're going to start right here with a little reminder of the Snake Eyes connection.
There was a movie in 1998 called Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen this. In the movie, they're at a boxing match. A politician is assassinated in the movie, and his name is Charles Kirkland. Okay, think about Charlie Kirk. This is very, very weird. Okay, he was shot on the left side of his neck. The film takes place on September 10th. Rob, that's the
date of the fight.
No,
this is what we were talking about yesterday.
This is what we were talking about yesterday. Rob, that's the poster. And then the boxer who's in on the plan, who's doing a diversion, he wakes up on the ring. His name is Tyler, like Tyler Robinson, and he's called the Executioner. Okay,
Jesus.
Weird. And then the tropical storm that hits in the film is called Hurricane Jezebel. And for some of you guys that saw Megan Kelly just did a piece. That's the name of the online magazine that allegedly hired witches in August to put a hex on Charlie. And the film, parts of the film were filmed at the Trump Taj Mahal and Hotel Casino, and the secret camera which films the assassination, but the videographer doesn't let anyone know. And guess what the tagline is of the movie? Believe everything except your eyes. There was a movie.
So you keep that last part in mind. Keep that last part in mind, because at the end of the day, let me ask you guys a common sense question about that right out of the gate. Either this is some kind of foreshadowing from a higher power than I'm capable of understanding, or this is a very large publicity stunt that was orchestrated very cleverly by the conspirators to mirror this movie. And maybe it's both. Maybe it's foretold, and maybe also you have a bunch of conspirators who did this on purpose, regardless of what that means in terms of what's the conclusion. Does that mean Charlie's alive? Does that mean he's dead? Either way. But you can't have it. And then, by the way, this did not cover all of the different stuff either. There's a lot more. We can look at that later because there's a and an important side of that story is that part of the stuff that they did not cover is the original ending of that movie. And the original ending of that movie, Snake Eyes, which is like, it's an okay movie. The original ending, there's a hurricane, and it literally washes the entire, like the whole casino gets washed away. And it was supposed to be a massive biblical reference for there being so much sin in this area, whatever, that they just needed to like wash it away and start over. The test audiences hated it, and so they reshot it. But that was the original ending. And the other stuff that they didn't talk about in that movie is like, and I've talked about this a million times, take Charles Kirkland in that movie, superimpose Charlie Kirk when they both get shot, and I'm telling you, the bullets could go directly through one and hit the other. They are shot in the absolute identical place. Identical. Okay? Like, it's like literally right there in both. Weird. Also, the blonde who is played by Carla Gugino in that movie, who I get is wearing an outfit that is nearly identical to what Erica wore at both, at least on the top side, to what she wore in both of her, immediate big, large, appearances after that. And listen, I've never been on the inside of an intelligence operation, but I do know of things where they model them after things like that. It's like a big inside joke. So it's like, it's either that, or we're talking about predictive programming, simulation theory, or God foretold this event through a movie. I'm open to all of them. I'm literally open to all of them. But certainly, I would say the most like based in this world option is probably going to be that they based an operation around the movie. And then some dumbass who was on the inside of it told somebody, and they leaked that shit, because I don't know how else that would have gotten out. Gracie's mama just finished your Martyr series. It's how I found you. Good work on that. Thank you very much. And thank you for watching the whole thing. I appreciate that. Most people like watch like one of them and they're all, I don't buy it. I'm like, I told you need to watch like the first 4. Yeah. If you watch the first 4 and you're not convinced, I would be like, really? All right. You know, if you're not convinced by the first 4, then you won't, I don't think that you're going to get there after that. But most people by the end of 4 are like, oh, wow. Yeah. Giving Charlie Kirk friends grace. Where do you ignore all Candace Owens and Baron expose? What? I'm very confused by that. I base like my entire theory on stuff that they exposed. Like that's where I found out about all this stuff. Charlie Kirk would never allow hiring Andrew Wilson. Ben Shapiro was getting updates in the SUV. Charlie Kirk hates Ben. Love you with all the new studio. Listen, I've talked about that particular one before. The Ben Shapiro getting updates one. That right there is a 0-0 burger, and I'll tell you exactly why. When things like that happen, right? Like some huge event, right? Like a huge event like that, everyone is trying to find out what's going on. Ben Shapiro has like built-in security. Like that's just that he does, right? Obviously, he goes around with security. These guys in the security and like the tier 1 guys, the special forces guy, the special forces community, very small, extremely tight-knit community. And most of these guys will know, I mean, they don't all know each other, but they'll know guys who know guys. Like all of them are like 1 degree of separation. The fact that someone who is on Ben's security team knows someone on Charlie's security team is like not surprising in the least. So when, it was like Charlie got shot in the immediate aftermath and people are like all calling around, like, what's going on? What's going on? A security guard who knows someone on his security team texting and saying, what's Charlie's status? And then the guy gives an answer. And then he tells the guys that he's with is not weird. It's just exactly what would happen. That's just like exactly what would happen. That doesn't mean Ben is friends with him. It just means someone on Ben's team knows or is friends with someone who was on Charlie's team. And they're friends from other stuff. That doesn't connect Charlie to Ben in like any kind of friendship thing. But yeah. And then on the other one, I listened, like literally, like I said, I was full throttle, all leftist until I watched their stuff. It wasn't until I watched their stuff where I was like, oh my God, dude, it's fucking right there. That's my entire point. It's like, let me take that back. The part that I was on before was I was looking at all of their behavior going, what is wrong with these people? Why are none of them sad? It wasn't until Candace, Baron, and them start putting out stuff about their behavior on the day of it's undeniable. You're literally watching it like, oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's how a person would behave for sure. Just go jump on the wall and film it and then he's dead. That right there is one of the most damning moments of the entire thing. Turns the camera on himself and says, he's dead. And you're like, he's dead? I mean, I can literally watch your move. He gets shot. He immediately beelines. All he saw is the initial impact and him fall, goes, and then he's up on the wall. So I know exactly what his vantage is because it's on camera. And you're one of his closer, like who would say that? You'd say, please let him make it through this. But if you were going to say he's dead, why would you say that? Same reason as you would do the funeral, same reason as you would do the memorial, same reason as you would do all of these things, which is convince the world that this is what happened, because that's what the purpose is if they did this. And again, who knows? I might be wrong, dude. You might be right. They might be all a bunch of evil Luciferians, dude. I don't know. Kids saw the vid. CK would not be okay with that. It depends on what's at stake. You can't say that without knowing why they're doing it. Like you would have to be inside of the brain of them to. It's like if you knew that a nuclear bomb was going to land on Chicago, or you are going to let some kids see that video, like the kids are watching the video. Simple as. And my whole thing is, I don't think people understand the nature of the moment that we're in right now. Neck shot was a mistake. Crisis actors said he was shot in the chest, then switched to neck. Well, that was my theory based on the fact that those girls said, wait, I thought, oh. I think I'm confused because I thought you were arguing against the theory. You're just saying that you believe the theory, but you also hate these motherfuckers, if I'm understanding this correctly. But next shot was a mistake. Crisis actor said he was shot in the chest, then switched net. Again, I am just out of respect for the mother that I spoke to. I am not saying that those girls are crisis actors. I will just say, objectively, I found it extraordinarily bizarre that they so confidently looked straight into a camera and were like, he was shot in the chest. And they literally looked like they had the quintessential LDS kid look. Okay. Which I'm not saying this disrespectfully at all. Like, but one of the reasons that I'm always so complimentary about that community is because I lived there, dude. Like, I lived there for a year. I interacted with them, and the families there have this very clear, identifiable, pure look to them where you could just look, like you can look at kids or, young adults or just adults, and you can look and go, that guy's seen some shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, you can look in my eyes and I'm sure that you'd be able to look and be like, you know what I mean? This is a person who's seen some life, and the families there are in lots of cases, and kind of, I would say the overwhelming examples that I interacted with are completely devoid of that. Like, they look innocent and pure because they are. Like, that's what the culture drives. It's part of how they live. And so it's like, in the event that they're going to be, it's like, okay, so what we're doing here, he's shot in the chest, and they have that same look, where they're like, yeah, he's shot right in the chest. And you're like, you don't look like someone who saw a person get shot in the chest today. Like, that would be very graphic. It would make your eyes look different to me. I can pick them out. Like, anyway, but like, and then they're like, and then an hour later, they're like, he got shot in the neck, actually. And you're like, I thought you said you saw it. So my theory was, well, what if the whole thing was that was supposed to be under his shirt, and when the, whatever that thing is under the shirt went like this, it dislodged the hose, made it go out of his shirt, which is why they would have had a 30-06, and they wouldn't have thought of the fact that, like, such an obvious mistake. Oh, if we're going to get shot in the neck, it's, the people are going to know there's no exit when there wasn't a 30-06. If it's a chest shot and his white shirt explodes in red, you're not going to question what it was. It's just going to look horrible, dude. Like, it's just going to look like it's going to look awful. It's going to look terrible. And so maybe it was a mistake. Again, all theoretical, all hypothetical. A Barnes, what's up, dude? Deep state civil war. Yes, that correct. If to sum up the motivation in 4 words, okay? And people are like, because again, I talk about, Charlie, the investigation, like he was getting targeted by Jack Smith, all of that stuff. That is all part of deep state civil war. That's what this was. If I'm right, okay, in the simplest terms I could possibly explain it, the world does not work the way that people think it does, okay? And the deep state is 100% real. There is no fucking question about that. That is objectively fact, okay? I'll give you a perfect example of how this incident, if it's correct, affected real world stuff that is connected to deep state civil war. Okay. They're doing the Doge audit, right? They target the USAID, right? USAID, which obviously all the mainstream propaganda machine is saying that it goes to like feeding kids and it's going to whatever. All these people are going to die because it's an aid fund. That's not what it was. Okay. And what's hilarious is even people who watch the story from the other side think they understand. They're like, they were giving money to like lesbian line dancing in Turkey. It's like, no, they weren't. Okay. Inside baseball, that is a line item from an intelligence officer with a sense of humor. That money went to an influence person over there. That they influence something over there. They have to write something in the balance sheet. They write Turkish fucking lesbian line dancing. It's a joke. Okay. It's an inside joke. Jesse, how do you know these things? I will tell you. Okay. If you paid attention to the Enron story, okay. If you guys know Enron, one of the most famous corporate bankruptcies of all time from the early 2000s or late 90s, early 2000s. And one of the original scandals that they had was they had these guys who were trading oil futures, and they had multiple books and all this. Anyway, the way that they figured out that these guys were fucking around was because they had all these insane names for all these corporations that they had made. It's like, and they were making jokes with the books, you know, the Death Star and all this stuff. Like, it's like, that's almost certain. I mean, I can't verify 1,000% that they weren't paying for like Nickelodeon, but the like trans version. I'm sure some of that probably is true, but a ton of it is just line items that they're making jokes with. But the U.S. aid, what did it do? That was a slush fund being used by the deep state. And we're not just talking about like the CIA and stuff. You're talking about the master of the universe. You're talking about these guys on the other side of the now Trump war. You got Trump and these guys over here. I don't really know the full team. And then you've got the old school guys. You got Soros and all of them who are getting billions of dollars pulled out of USAID every year. And they're putting it down media channels. They're running operations. And so what happens while they are actively doing the Doge process? Okay. I get it that like the American people are sitting there watching and they're like, oh, wow, look at all this wasteful spending. That's what's going on. It's about wasteful spending. It's like, nope. I mean, yes, but no. They are rooting out how the other side, who they believe are nefarious actors and are, from my perspective, are using the American government and the American budget to run dirty ass games, to run propaganda, to break the United States down, to fund these nightmare fuel, like, what do you call them? Like riots and all that stuff. You think that shit's organic? You think that like, oh, they're just pallets of bricks, they're just getting there, all of that stuff. You think that shit's organic? So they know that stuff's going on. JD Vance knows that stuff's going on. Trump knows what's going on. Elon knows what's going on. Charlie knows what's going on. All of those guys know what's going on. Those guys who run the money through USAID and are funding these things through those slush funds are the same people who put Jack Smith in as special prosecutor, who then opens a case on Charlie Kirk and was going to put him in fucking prison. It's the same people. These are the exact same people. And so on the other side, how are you going to counteract that? It's a fucking war. Okay. Now I'm just going to take the mask off and pretend that I'm not sure about this, this theory, This is how the world works. This is actually how the world works. Okay. If you listen, I promise you will learn something. That is what you're actually looking at. It's a fucking war between two factions that are the most powerful factions, like potentially in the world now. I don't even want to get into the world at this point, and the thing is, you have all of this power, but at the end of the day, you have to control the people. So you can't just ignore the fact that you have this gigantic American and global population. You need them to be believing the thing that you need them to believe, even if you're the good guys. If you know that these demonic Luciferian fucks over here are literally actively trying to destroy the United States on purpose, because they want a new world government. They want to break everything down and then, put everything together and then run it all. They want to run it all. Even if you know that and you're the good guys, if you don't play by the same rules as them, you're going to fucking lose. That simple. You don't have a choice. You have to play the same game. So getting back to the Doge example, what happens right when Doge starts? Like when they're running the Doge thing, what happens? Who's running Doge? Elon. So what happens? Oh my God, there's a fucking global attack where everyone's burning Teslas. They're burning Teslas to the ground. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's super organic. That's definitely not these guys over here whose money is tied up in US aid attacking back against Elon. They're attacking his share price. They're attacking his companies. They're attacking his primary source of income, because he's the one who bought Twitter and took away their vice grip on control of media. He broke them with that. That was one of the most decisive moments of this entire thing. They had never really been challenged like that. He buys Twitter and all of a sudden their vice grip on information is broken. And now he's going after their money. Elon's going after their money. He's breaking down USAID. And then boom, you get all of a sudden you're getting these widespread attacks on Tesla. I bought the stock at that point because I knew it was temporary and inorganic. One of the smarter fucking stock purchases that I've ever made. So what happens? Like, so now taking us to where Charlie gets shot and killed. Okay. Who do you think was running the Palm Beach Pete files and putting all that stuff out and saying, so that to break the Trump? Where do you think that shit came from? Like, where did all of us, don't get me wrong. They fucked that up horrifically. They couldn't have fucked that up worse. They actually started it, but they exacerbated it also. And you've got that going on. And then you have all the stuff with Gaza. My opinion, I think that Trump had to make promises to that particular group in order to get elected. And he just, for some reason, thought that like no one would notice because of how bad things were before. And it was like, no, we're going to notice, dude. We're going to fucking notice. You think that you're going to be able to like promise us no foreign wars and then we'll just like not notice when you go to war? Like, we're going to fucking notice. But at the time when Charlie gets shot, right, you have all of that going on and Charlie gets shot. It's on the leftists and boom, if this would have worked, it would have unified the party. It would have made everybody march in the right direction, which is battling against the radical left, which, by the way, is not an organic movement. It's run by the deep state fucks over here. It's run by those guys, those Luciferian fucks. They're the ones who run that stuff. So this whole thing is a huge chess move in that battle. And immediately following it, what did they do? What did the Trump administration do? They deemed the left-wing terror group, they deemed like Antifa and all of them terror groups. And they gave themselves the ability to target what? The groups that fund them. Okay. Count on one hand how many of those, like, oh my God, there are these riots in the streets happening. How many of those have happened since then? How many times have we had widespread burning and violence since the Charlie Kirk assassination? Or with like a month after that? Not very many, right? Kind of weird. Almost like they just disappeared out of nowhere. So wait, I thought these leftists love to burn shit. I thought these guys love to like attack federal buildings and stuff. I thought that was like a thing that they do. It's like, they just stopped doing that during the Trump administration. Like, you have ICE protests. Those are protests. Like, there's not widespread burning and attacking people. They have very widespread protests. That's a very different thing than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about widespread burning Teslas, widespread rioting and looting. That's a crime. Protesting is not a crime. This stuff is criminal. And all of that stuff stopped once they did that because they are in control of the justice system. Like, they're in control. They can target these guys. So as soon as these billionaires recognize, like, oh shit, these guys can put us in fucking prison if we start fucking around now, it stops. Because it's literally legal now for them to target them if they fund that stuff. Boom, it stops. This is my point about who the good guys are. Okay. I'm not saying everybody has to agree with me in terms of like who's good, who's bad, who's whatever. But that's what this is. That's what this actually is. And in my opinion, they put way too much on people's shoulders who are very ill-equipped to play those roles without really thinking about it. Like, from my perspective, this was a drastic underestimation of the collective intelligence of people who are going to be looking at this. Bottom line, that's my interpretation, is most of the time the population buys this shit. But this one, it was too public. And anyway, but who knows? I might be wrong. I could be wrong about all of it. It is possible. But that's what I think is the actual motivation behind this entire thing. But again, I could be totally wrong, and he could have gotten killed by Tyler Robinson. We're going to be talking about that later when I look at the new evidence that Tyler Robinson, in these HD images that look like my friend Jason from college, one of my best friends from my fraternity. Is like, I'm like, oh, that's Jason. That's not Tyler. I don't know who that is. If he's alive, sure wouldn't let TPUSA get trashed. I don't think that there's a choice in that. That's what I'm saying. This is a plan that fucking got derailed on a level that's like, you know what I mean? This guy, I mean, again, what do I know? I could be wrong about all of it, but I think that what I'm looking at is a plan that started off real good. Really good. The day of, they got through that. They got through the memorial. Everybody's aligned. The leftists did exactly what they knew that they would do, which is go, oh yeah, hey, fuck Charlie, man. Fuck him. He's a piece of shit. Oh my God. Ha ha ha. Yeah. We're glad he's dead. They did exactly what they knew they would do. They knew they would do that. And it would make their side look reprehensible because they are. Then, you know, it's like, yeah, but you don't have to pull this off for 2 weeks. You have to pull this off forever, you know? And again, if I'm right and they kept Candace on the outside of this thing, that was crazy town. What do you know? Like, I'll just play a hypothetical. What do you know about her? What do you know about her as it relates to Charlie? She loves him. How many people does she love like that? Like how many guys? People don't understand what a like an actual platonic deep friendship is between guy girl if there's none of that weird shit there. Like, what is she gonna do if she smells a rat? What is she gonna do? She's gonna burn your fucking world to the ground. She'll burn the whole world with it, dude. Is incredibly predictable. If she thinks you guys are involved, she's going to destroy all of you. She'll destroy the fucking world. She will kill every single project that you're working. She will destroy it all, dude. She's a fucking dragon, which is what I think happened. Why would TPUSA pay Candace $500K after blaming her for grifting off his death? This whole thing is ridiculous at this point. They're literally promoting a fight on the X2 boxers. That is the debate is ludicrous. And man, right before the debate, they're all, hey, here's the new HD version of Tyler Robinson. It's like, here it is, dude. Look, it's finally clear. It's finally crystal clear. The first thing I saw, I looked at his legs and I was like, guys, I said this to my group chat. I was like, listen, there's certain things that, come with having a, whatever mental disorder I have. Any athletic looking dude that is within 20 yards of me since I've been fucking 18 years old, I've looked at it and been like, that's a tough round right there. That's a tough round. Nope. Run over that guy. Nope. Run over that guy. It's weird. I'm not bragging about this. This is just a thing. I looked at that kid who is in that video, whoever that person is, that is an athletic person with a very sturdy set of legs. He's going to be hard to run over. Tyler is a 140-pound twig it's like a stupid way to evaluate, but I looked at that and unless it's like some kind of weird shadows or whatever, I'm like, and also his face doesn't look like it as an added bonus. Charlie's own logic, different witnesses see different things. I mean, yeah, witnesses do see different things. I don't know what that's. Super chat too short. Check your email. I will when I'm done. Pretty lady. Dee was stating that what Andrew Wilson said about Candace. Shit, I'm sorry. I'm not 100% sure what that's in reference to. Thank you very much. So Charlie Kirk conspired to make TPUSA pro is and split the Republican Party as a liar. No. Oh my God. Oh man. Do people understand the difference between intention and outcome? I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying, do you understand the difference between here's what was intended to happen and here's what actually happened? Because you're talking about what actually happened. I'm talking about what was intended. Once they do it, now you're locked in. And what's going to happen is going to happen depending on your actions. I'm not saying that Charlie intended to have fucking Candace, have them have this fucking fiasco of where they got villainized across the world, break the Republican Party, make it much, much, much worse than it was. I'm saying the intention was to do the exact opposite, and it went bad. Neil and Kathy Franklin. Oh, referring to the chest shot. Charlie's own logic, different witnesses see different things. Wait, I'm so confused. Okay, but what, let me go back to what you actually said. Hang on. But the neck shot was a mistake. Crisis actor said he was shot in the chest, that switched to the neck. I'm sorry. I'm not 100% sure what we're talking about. I missed the show. I have to catch up. Do it, dude. Do it. And again, for the 100th time, like, I'm going to continue to investigate the other side of this too, with Lance and any of this stuff that comes out, because it's all theoretical. All I described is my hypothesis about if it's not real, then this would be why. There's 100 reasons why leftists would have done it, or why this guy would have framed this guy, or why well, actually, I can't think of a single reason that TPUSA would have done it, but I know, Israel had motive for sure. All of these things are totally plausible options. This is the one that makes the most sense to me. But again, I've spent fucking hundreds of hours on other potential, answers also. But I like showing this one though, dude, because this one right here, it's just a completely different version of Erica than people normally see, where it's like obviously Charlie and her got along really well.
Welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show.
Now, of all of the preface videos that I'm going to show you, this is the one that is most impactful for me. Okay. Watch this video and then tell me that you still believe that it is likely that this woman murdered Charlie Kirk and then, completely absent grief, has behaved the way that she has behaved since this happened. Okay. Watch this.
Leave everyone today.
Grammar matters more than people realize.
Words of wisdom for today.
Learn how to say words backwards.
I don't know if they were the
Words of wisdom for today.
Power shows the man. You want to find out a lot about somebody, give them a bunch of power. Power shows the man. We will be
That one, I think about that a lot, actually.
diving deep into Aristotle. We were just at Hillsdale, good school, great school. The only college, the last college.
Your words of wisdom for today.
Wise man loves to be corrected. Anyone that wants to replace error with truth is wise.
What are your words of wisdom for today?
To know the road ahead, ask those coming back.
And where are we?
We're in an elevator. I like your hat.
Baby, what are your words of wisdom for today?
Lost time is never found again.
This is the best, dude. Hey, she whacked him out, dude. She whacked him out. Okay. That is the opposite of what I see. But again, what do I know? All right. I am going to now go and film my response to the new footage. I'm going to look at the new footage. I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to look at the Andrew Wilson stuff, because good God, my fucking guys are cooking this motherfucker, dude. Valhalla, JD, and Dan are eating his fucking liver, dude. I'm going to have to do it, dude. I'm going to have to do it. I almost feel bad for him, dude. I literally almost feel bad for the guy. It's like, hey, you didn't realize, like you probably want to look around the Charlie Kirk, lots of questions around the assassination community, and be like these guys they will welcome the conflict. I promise, dude. I promise. It's a Palantir drill to study dissent. Oh, for sure. For sure. For sure. I try my best to get on board with you mentally. I just can't. Not a shot at you. I just don't see how it benefits Charlie or anyone else in this scenario. I mean, I just laid it all out. I'm not saying, again, and I'm saying it's a failed, it's a plan that went sideways. I'm telling you, I what the objective was. I just laid it out. That's what's actually going on. I'm telling you, that's what's actually going on. I mean, and maybe not the Charlie Kirk thing, but on the other side of this, where let's just insert that Charlie actually was killed. Everything else that I laid out is what's going on. With the USAID, who is running that, what they use it for, Elon coming in, running Doge. All of a sudden, all the Teslas start getting blown up. People are attacking his cars. The share price is getting crushed. People are short selling it. They're responding to the Doge effort to cut off that $50 billion fund and other things that they're doing. And then let's say Charlie got killed. They deem left-wing groups domestic terrorists, which opened the gate to them investigating and prosecuting the people who are funding those groups, and suddenly it stops. Okay. That, if you need more to look at, like I'm telling you, that is what's happening. Whether or not Charlie was actually killed or whether it was orchestrated in order to be a piece on the chessboard, because they made very clear they're targeting Charlie. So Charlie's response would be, like, if it's me, I'd be like, okay, how are you going to target me if I'm not on the board anymore? And I am behind the scenes stacking up billions of dollars that I'm going to be able to use to fight you demonic fucks. That's what I would do. You know, but maybe he also was killed. But like, that's the most, like, this is what I'm saying is, like, if you can't understand what I'm explaining there, that's totally fine. Like, that's totally fine. And maybe I'm crazy, but if you hear what I'm saying, like, these are like, it's not like, these are just people. Okay. Like, really, all of these power bases, the deep state, they're just people who are inside of a system operating off of their own incentives and based on their nature. And some of these people are very, very, very much not like you and very much not like me. And they are just literally driven solely to accumulate power and control over people, which is super fucking weird to me. Doesn't even make sense. The accumulation of money at that stage is so weird to me. It's like, dude, you're worth $50 billion. Like, what's the point? Like, what is the point of all of this? But these are, like, humanity and history proves this. There's not, like, it's not up for debate. This is just the new version of Genghis Khan, or if I can pick a person who tried to take over the world. Like, this is just how they do it now, because warfare has escalated scientifically to where if you just go to war, you destroy and kill every single thing that you would want to capture. Nuclear weapons are now, it's like, what's the point of turn it into it's like, here you go, dude, you won. Here's your nuclear wasteland. Oh, and 70% of the people who are the, labor power base of what you are operating from on your side of the war, gone, dead. And so is all the infrastructure that you are using to do all of the things that you want to do, because they also got destroyed by nuclear weapons. So you have to fight different. That's all this shit is exactly the same as, Genghis Khan, fucking Alexander the Great. It's the same movie in a different timeline. And people should be very, very, like, be thinking about how that plays out when you're talking about AI. If you're starting to wrap your brain around what AI is and what's actually at stake in this iteration of the war, that's the other part of this that I'm just kind of like, okay, I probably give him enough. Because this stage, this is the moment where who wins, this might be the final fucking battle of humanity, like right now. Because AI is going to be, it's like, nothing's ever going to be the same. Like, this is not a temporary thing. This is not like the invention of the fucking car. It's not like the invention of the, steam fucking engine or whatever. Like, we're talking, like, this is a new intelligence that is going to do every single thing better, faster, more efficiently than humans, on a level that humans can't even anticipate. And we know it. And we're still just like, there's no one who could stop this at this point. It's not like we're past the point where we could have done something different and, like, not birthed, artificial intelligence. I don't really understand where it came from. I don't know who gave it to us. This could be some kind of, like, if you watch the Third Body Problem or Three Body Problem about the alien invasion, and the way that they did it, like, they're not like big aliens or whatever. The way they did is they did it with science and kind of infiltrated the science, whatever. It's irrelevant. But the origin of what AI is very much not clear to me. But what is clear to me is that there is nothing hypothetical about this. No one is going, like, everything that 90% of the things that we need human labor for is going away. And what is going to determine the future is going to be the AI systems that win. And who's going to determine which AI systems win is still in the hands of the humans who are going to be able to wield these AI systems for now. But, like, no one really knows. No one really knows what's going to come next. But they do know that they don't want to be on the other side of someone else's fucking AI. Like, look at who you know of that has, like, these AI systems in play right now. Elon, Peter Thiel, Bill Gates, right? Like, just to name a few. Then you got, obviously, you have OpenAI, who's whose logo is pretty fucking notable, who's running that one. Like you've got those, like Bill Gates. We know what his fucking vision of the future is, dude. AI that is used to social credit score, keep you in a 15-minute city, make sure that you are going to be up to date on your shots. And when no one has any money because they don't have jobs and you are given a universal basic income, which is going to be in the form of credits that you can buy food with, what do you think happens if you don't take his shots? What do you think happens if you don't do this? It's like, you already know what his vision is, right? And he is on the USAID side as far as I can tell. And then you've got this other thing, Elon, who bought Twitter, opened it up, took away the vice grip on information. Like, there's no way for me to know who's who, but that's the guy I'm fucking banking on because that's the only option that looks like it's not going to lead to some dystopian nightmare. So listen, if I'm wrong about all this, what you should be saying is, man, it must suck to be that guy because he's got all that shit going on in his brain all the time and he's wrong. He's fucking wrong, dude. What a waste of your time and energy to think through all of those things all the time, Gayla, thank you very much. When I saw the video, I had to share with you, Candace, Barron, Coach. So you were the only that Charlie isn't dead. Just saying. Well, I certainly hope he's not. Neil, 5 people see a wreck, see different aspects of wreck. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Especially in those high pressure, like high adrenaline situations. Like, I hear military guys talk about that all the time when sometimes guys will tell a story and people accuse them of lying about the story. And then people will have their back depending on the fucking variation, but they're like, dude, that happens all the time. We're on a mission. People will literally tell like a completely different story. And like, they're not lying. They just interpreted, high intensity situation like that. In my mind, I think Charlie was the Tesla. Tesla was in the way. I agree with the second part. I think Charlie was the Tesla and Tesla was in the way. Oh, and they blew him up. That's a clever way to say that, dude. Butler and UVU, basically same script. I have that is not that's not a thing that has escaped me either. Because I thought the idea that Butler was not real was completely impossible, total batshit. But again, I'm not saying any of this is real. I'm not saying any of this is not real for sure. I don't know. 3-body problem proves space is fake and the ether is real. AI knows the ether is real. All I know is that I don't know anything about that stuff. I could be literally just plugged into, I entertain all kinds of things about this reality. Like I entertain that I just wake up in a version of one of the billion versions of my life and I just live a day here. I like this one, dude. I'm hoping to be here tomorrow, but who knows? Maybe tomorrow I'll wake up in some other fucking version. I don't know. But anyway, I always feel self-conscious at the end of these streams where I talk about this theory because I have always known that it is impossible that I'm going to convince the majority of people and I don't really even want to. So I always feel weird where I'm like, ugh, I feel dirty, especially because I really vomited my actual theory today in a way, like in terms of the motives and why I'm so confident in all that stuff. So I feel weird. But now I'm going to go back and I'm going to film my other stuff today, which should be hopefully interesting. Great job on your video. And by the way, DD got a podcast. There's way more to his, dude. You guys should definitely go watch that because there's a ton more stuff. Like I covered probably like a 1/6 of what's in there. You know what I mean? And I will go check my email for sure. Let me just make sure I didn't have any more. Nope. Okay, we're good. All right. Love you guys.